Hey guys, welcome back to Explain Games. So last time I spoke about what we know about the new James Bond video game, currently titled Project 007, and also my hopes and expectations for it, so leave the link for that down in the description below if you want to check that out. But today, I will talk about 5 things F1 2020 got right, made by Codemasters. Now, as I mentioned in my previous videos, I absolutely love racing games, whether a more arcadey style of game or a simulator, and this also extends to F1 as well. I love watching F1, and yes, I am a Ferrari supporter, so don't you dare mention last season. But anyway, I love playing these games, and I think most of the time Codemasters do a really good job with them, so I was generally quite excited when I got my hands on it this Christmas. But first, if you guys haven't already, please be sure to hit that subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. Once again, a big thanks to all my fantastic subscribers and to everyone who watches these videos. You're all amazing. With that said, let's get into it. So the first thing I think F1 2020 got right is the create your own team mode. I, and I'm sure many other F1 fans around the world, have dreamed about the opportunity to manage your own F1 team. Wouldn't it be amazing if you could start your very own F1 team from scratch and build them up to the best team on the grid? Well, F1 2020 gives you that opportunity and does a pretty damn good job of it too. You start out choosing your primary sponsor, engine manufacturer and driver, but you only have a limited budget to work with, so you really have to choose wisely on whether you want a good engine power and durability or rather have a good driver. You also choose your team's colours, car design and logo as well. You can also choose the driver's uniforms and gloves, which is really cool. Once you've done all that, you can start the season and eventually do some races. During the races, you get upgrade points which you can use to improve the chassis, durability, engine and aerodynamics of the car. The car starts as one of the worst on the grid depending on what engine you chose at the start, and over time you build up your team to the best on the grid. Throughout parts of the season, you can also go into the drivers market and buy new drivers to improve your team, which is a really nice feature. On top of this, you can improve their stats and the different department stats by putting money into them. For example, buying simulators for the driver. In summary, I think create your own team is a really nice addition to F1 2020, as giving you the ability to be the driver and manager of the same team is just really awesome. So the next thing on this list is the multiple game modes that F1 2020 has to offer. The last point about create your own team is included in this as it's its own game mode, but I felt that was so good enough to warrant making its own separate point. But in terms of the other game modes, I think this game also does a pretty good job here. Time Trials, Career Mode, all return from previous titles of the franchise, as well as returning from F1 2019 is Formula 2. It's really a nice addition to the game because it nicely shows the step up from F2 to F1, and it's really cool to have all the extra cars and drivers. That being said, F2 can sometimes feel like a bit of a drag at times, but overall I think all the game modes are generally quite good. But I think in general, F1 2020 does a really good job with all the game modes, and as there's so many of them, it really mixes up the experience with plenty of variety. And there's so many classic cars to choose from. I think there's 16 or so, going way back to 1988's McLaren, all the way up to 2020's Red Bull, I believe. So that's a really nice feature. So the third thing on this list is the tracks. Now I know they don't really differ much from previous installments in the franchise, but I always think Codemasters do a fantastic job with the tracks, because they look beautiful and full of intricate details. But most of all, they all look very similar to what they look like in real life. Like, here are some examples. What's new in F1 2020 as well is the inclusion of 2 new tracks. Hanoi Street Circuit for the Vietnam Grand Prix, and also Zandvoort, I think I said that right, for the Dutch Grand Prix. And while I'm not a huge fan of Hanoi Street Circuit, mainly because it's a closed street track and I'm not a huge fan of them like Monaco, I absolutely love Zandvoort. It's always so much fun to drive around and always feel very high speed and competitive. I think overall Codemasters did a fantastic job creating these new tracks we all know and love with such great detail, but also adding all the new tracks to provide a new, fresher experience, as the calendar for F1 is always extending and renewing itself. It's really nice that we get to experience some new and exciting tracks. So the fourth thing up on this list is the great customization. I know I briefly mentioned this earlier with the create your own team mode, but the customization in this game is absolutely fantastic. In create your own team, you can change the driver's suits and gloves, as well as choosing different helmet designs for the player. On top of all this, you can also customize liveries for your car, and you can also customize your team's logo, which is really cool. I know this is a list of 5 things this game did right, but there's not many ways to change your driver's physical appearance. There are a few facial presets, but beyond that, there isn't much to change, which is quite disappointing, as that's something that games, for example, like FIFA have been doing for years now. What's nice with the Schumacher and the 70th anniversary editions, however, is the extra liveries, patterns and helmets are available to unlock, which is really cool and a nice touch. Overall, I think the customization this game has is really good, and it's something I'd like to see continued with F1 2021. So the fifth and final thing on this list is the overall atmosphere and really making you feel like an F1 driver, but also giving you that cinematic watching from home on the TV experience. I know it's something that previous installments have done really well, but it's really nice that there's commentators showing the driver's grid and telling you who's on it, and just sprinkling the F1 theme every so often is a really nice touch and really adds to the overall atmosphere. I also think the music does a really good job here as well, and the create your own theme music, for example, is so basic and subtle, but it's really quite mesmerising and hypnotic. As with previous installments in the franchise, like F1 2013, I think overall the music in this game is pretty good and really helps to add to the atmosphere. In Create Your Own Team, it's really nice when upgrading facilities, you get to see their improvements, which I think, as I say, really adds to the atmosphere of being like an F1 driver and being the manager. I overall think that Codemasters have once again delivered a game with a really good atmosphere, and also a game with fantastic music, really giving you the authentic F1 experience. So they were my picks for 5 things F1 2020 got right. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. I'll of course be doing a video on 5 things F1 2020 got wrong very soon. But anyway, I'll of course be doing more right and wrong in videos, with Minecraft being the next game I'm reviewing, as I had that suggested to me by someone. So if you want to see me do a right and wrong on any games in particular, then please let me know down in the comments below. And as I said in some of my previous videos, I'm a huge fan of Batman, so if I reach 25 subscribers, I'll definitely do a right and wrong on Batman Arkham Asylum, and we're so close to 25. We're at 21 at the moment, so if you haven't already, please be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. That'd be really greatly appreciated. It would really help this channel out a lot. But anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.